At the same time, the acting director of national intelligence was testifying there on the Hill. President Trump was in a closed-door meeting with staff here in New York City, and he was unleashing. The recording now emerging from the event with staff from the U.S. mission to the UN. The president compared White House officials who allegedly talked to the whistleblower to spies. And then he said something else that reportedly shocked some in the room about what used to happen to spies. ABC senior national correspondent Terry Moran at the White House.
As his acting director of national intelligence testified on Capitol Hill this morning, behind closed doors, President Trump was venting to the staff at the U.S. mission to the UN. In an audio recording obtained by the Los Angeles Times, you can hear his frustration building at the whistleblower.
Basically, that person never saw the report, never saw the call.
Then, talking about the whistleblower's sources in the White House, his thoughts turned violent.
I want to know who's the person that gave the whistleblower, who's the person that gave the whistleblower the information? Because that's close to a spy. You know what we used to do in the old days when we were smart, right? With spies and treasons. Right? We used to handle it a little differently than we do now.
In the old days, spies and traitors were put to death. Later, returning to Washington, Trump talked again about today's hearing, deploying a familiar phrase.
I just watched a little bit of this on television. It's a disgrace to our country. It's another witch hunt. Here we go again.
But then this, a wish and maybe a strategy to derail the whole impeachment inquiry.
There should be a way of stopping it, maybe legally through the courts, but they're going to tie up our country.
Terry Moran live at the White House again tonight. And Terry, you heard the president there making that suggestion late today that he might turn to the courts to stop this impeachment proceeding. What's he talking about? Can he do that?
Well, David, he can't stop it in the courts. That's a battle he'll have to fight in Congress. But he can slow it down or even sabotage it in the courts, claiming executive privilege to stop his aides from testifying or preventing documents from being released. The White House now gearing up, staffing up for a long legal and political battle ahead. This coming so suddenly after the people here, including the president, thought they'd put the threat of impeachment behind them. David?
Terry Moran at the White House. Terry, thank you. And one more note on this tonight, because there is a mystery now. Who in the White House was alarmed by this? Who spoke to the whistleblower? What did William Barr know, if anything, at the Justice Department? And now tonight this reaches the State Department, too, because in the whistleblower's report, he writes of multiple U.S. officials who were deeply concerned by what the president's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, was doing. The whistleblower saying Giuliani was circumventing the national security decision-making process to engage with Ukrainian officials to relay messages back and forth between Kiev and President Trump. So I want to bring in ABC's Martha Raddatz, because, Martha, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo was asked today, did the State Department ever instruct Rudy Giuliani on what to do? And if Secretary Pompeo is certain that there weren't any improprieties within the State Department, here's what he said.
To the best of my knowledge, and from what I've seen so far, each of the actions that were undertaken by State Department officials was entirely appropriate.
Martha, Secretary Pompeo, as you know, said he hadn't fully read the whistleblower's report, which is now public. We all have it, but that he knows of nothing done that was wrong at the State Department?
Well, David, that is what Pompeo is saying, but the whistleblower says State Department officials, including 2 ambassadors, had spoken with Giuliani in an attempt to, quote, contain the damage to U.S. national security, and that those officials met with the new Ukrainian administration to, quote, help Ukrainian leaders understand differing messages they were receiving from official U.S. channels on the one hand and from Mr. Giuliani on the other. And, David, tonight in a new interview with the Atlantic, Rudy Giuliani is saying it is impossible that the whistleblower is a hero, and I'm not, and I will be the hero when this is over. David?
All right, Martha Raddatz, Martha, Terry, and Mary, we thank you all.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.